They told you sugar is the enemy, the root of obesity, diabetes, and endless health problems. But what if the real danger isn't sugar at all? What if there's a healthy carb hiding in your everyday foods that's quietly doing far more damage to your body than sugar ever could? It's a carb most people eat every single day without realizing it. It spikes your blood sugar faster than soda, feeds the bad bacteria in your gut, and builds fat around your organs. And yet, it's sold to you as natural, gluten-free, or low-fat. It's in your cereal, your protein bars, your smoothies, your bread, even your baby's formula. The food industry calls it harmless. But the truth is, it's not food at all. It's chemistry disguised as nutrition. By the end of this video, you'll understand what this so-called healthy carb really is, and why it's silently destroying your metabolism from the inside out. For decades, we've been told that carbohydrates are essential. They're energy, they're fuel, they're the backbone of a healthy diet. But the truth is, not all carbs are created equal. There's a huge difference between the carbohydrates found in natural foods like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, and the ones found in packaged, processed, man-made products. What I'm talking about is industrial starch, a refined, synthetic carb created in factories to make food cheaper, thicker, and more profitable. It hides under names like modified food starch, maltodextrin, cornstarch, and tapioca starch. You've probably seen those names on dozens of ingredient lists and ignored them, thinking they're harmless, but they're not. Industrial starch is stripped, bleached, and restructured until it's nothing more than a chain of simple sugars. It digests almost instantly, spiking your blood sugar even faster than table sugar. When you eat it, your glucose levels shoot up and your body panics. Insulin rushes out to pull that sugar out of your bloodstream. But when this happens day after day, meal after meal, your cells stop responding. They become numb. That's how insulin resistance starts the first step toward type 2 diabetes, stubborn belly fat, and constant fatigue. Your body keeps storing fat, especially deep inside your abdomen, where you can't see it. The dangerous visceral fat that wraps around your organs like a toxic blanket. And it doesn't stop there. That same spike and crash cycle wreaks havoc on your energy, your hunger, and your mood. You feel hungry even after eating. You crave more carbs. You reach for snacks, thinking you just need a boost. But every bite only feeds the problem. It's a biological trap engineered to keep you addicted. The more you eat it, the more your body depends on it. Inside your gut, this industrial starch feeds harmful bacteria that thrive on fast processed carbs. These bacteria multiply rapidly, pushing out the good microbes that support your digestion and immunity. Your gut becomes inflamed. You start feeling bloated, foggy, tired, even anxious. Your immune system, constantly under stress, begins to overreact. Chronic inflammation spreads throughout your body, from your digestive tract to your joints, arteries, and even your brain. Scientists are now discovering that diets high in refined starches are linked not just to obesity and diabetes, but also to cognitive decline, depression, and early signs of dementia. And yet, this so-called healthy carb is everywhere. It's in the gluten-free foods that promise to protect your gut, in the low-fat yogurts marketed for heart health, in energy bars designed for athletes, and in baby formulas made for infants. Every aisle in your grocery store is filled with products claiming to be better for you, while quietly loaded with these invisible carbs. The sad truth is that most people start consuming this chemical starch before they can even walk. It becomes a normal part of their diet for life. So how did we get here? Simple. Money. Industrial starch is cheap. Cheaper than sugar. Cheaper than flour. Cheaper than almost any real food ingredient. It's made in bulk from subsidized crops like corn and wheat, processed, bleached, and modified to behave like a texture enhancer. It thickens sauces, makes baked goods soft, keeps bars chewy, and extends shelf life. Food companies love it because it saves them money and keeps you eating more. They call it safe because it's listed as generally recognized as safe, a loophole that means no long-term safety studies are required. But what's safe for the manufacturer's profits isn't safe for your body. When industrial starch breaks down, It floods your bloodstream with glucose, but it also leaves behind byproducts that cause oxidative stress and cell damage. These compounds promote inflammation in your arteries and your liver. Over time, that inflammation hardens the walls of your blood vessels, leading to high blood pressure and cardiovascular strain. It clogs your liver with fat, making it less efficient at clearing toxins. That's why people eating low-fat, healthy, processed foods often develop fatty liver disease, even if they barely touch alcohol. The same mechanism also contributes to insulin resistance in the brain, a key factor in Alzheimer's disease, now often called type 3 diabetes. And while sugar at least tastes sweet and warns you it's unhealthy, industrial starch hides behind a mask of innocence. It doesn't taste sweet until your saliva starts breaking it down. That's why when you chew bread or chips long enough, they suddenly taste sugary. That's starch turning into glucose right in your mouth. Imagine what happens when that process continues in your bloodstream. 3 meals a day for decades. Most processed foods are built on this toxic trio: sugar, seed oils, and starch. Sugar adds flavor, seed oils add fat, and starch adds bulk. Together, they form a deadly mix that damages every system in your body. Chips, crackers, cereals, fries, pastries, they all rely on this same combination. And when starch and seed oil are heated together, they form advanced compounds called lipid peroxides, toxins that directly damage your cells and accelerate aging. You're not just eating calories. You're eating biochemical stress. Food companies know you're afraid of sugar, so they replace it with these zero-sugar starches and slap a healthy label on the box. You think you're making a better choice, but your body disagrees. Because biologically, this refined starch acts just like sugar, only faster and in higher doses. It doesn't just give you an insulin spike, it batters your metabolism all day long, creating a constant background storm of inflammation and fat storage. Even the so-called organic or plant-based versions of these products aren't safe. Organic cornstarch is still starch. Gluten-free processed snacks often contain even higher amounts of maltodextrin to mimic texture. The label might look healthy, but inside your body, it behaves exactly the same, a high-speed sugar bomb disguised as nutrition. Now, imagine the scale of the problem. The average adult consumes more than 60 pounds of industrial starch every year. Teenagers, over 100 pounds. And for children, more than half of their daily calories come from ultra-processed foods. We're talking about kids whose growing bodies are being built on a foundation of synthetic carbs, seed oils, and preservatives instead of real nutrients. No wonder fatigue, mood disorders, and metabolic diseases are appearing younger than ever. The human body wasn't designed for this. Our ancestors thrived on slow-digesting carbohydrates, roots, tubers, grains, foods that released energy gradually, supporting balance and endurance. Industrial starch skips that process entirely. It overwhelms the system. Your body can't handle the flood of glucose, the chemical residues, the endless insulin spikes. Over time, your cells lose their ability to communicate properly. Hormones go haywire. Fat storage increases, hunger signals malfunction, and energy crashes become your new normal. It's not just about weight gain, it's about metabolic confusion. The saddest part? People think they're doing everything right. They skip sugary sodas, choose healthy cereal, snack on gluten-free crackers, drink protein shakes, and avoid fats, all while consuming massive amounts of the very carb that's causing the damage. They feel guilty for not losing weight, frustrated by their energy levels, and confused about what's really healthy. But the problem isn't willpower, it's deception. The food system is designed to keep you misinformed, hooked, and exhausted. Breaking free starts with awareness. The first step is reading your ingredient labels. Don't just look for sugar, look for starch. If you see words like modified, maltodextrin, cornstarch, tapioca, or rice flour near the top of the list, that product isn't food, it's filler. Replace it with real, whole sources of carbohydrates. Eat foods that come from the ground, not the factory. Potatoes, quinoa, oats, lentils, fruits, vegetables, carbs that contain fiber, vitamins, and life. The kind that nourish your body, not attack it. When you start eliminating industrial starch from your diet, something incredible happens. Your energy stabilizes. Your blood sugar stops swinging like a roller coaster. Cravings disappear. Your gut begins to heal. The fog lifts. You feel lighter, more awake, more alive, because your body finally gets to operate the way it was meant to. You start realizing how many of your daily symptoms, the fatigue, the brain fog, the bloating, the constant hunger, were never normal. They were signals from your body begging you to stop feeding it poison disguised as food. The truth is, sugar isn't the main villain anymore. Industrial starch, this invisible carb hiding in everything from bread to smoothies, is the silent killer we've ignored for too long. It's the foundation of the modern diet, the reason metabolic diseases are exploding, and the hidden link between chronic inflammation, obesity, and early aging. And as long as we keep treating it like food, we'll keep paying the price in fatigue, frustration, and illness. So the next time you see a label that says 0 sugar, don't celebrate, investigate. Flip it over, read the ingredients, and find the truth that the marketing hides. Real food doesn't need chemistry to taste good. It doesn't need to be modified or bleached or engineered. It just needs to be grown, cooked, and eaten the way nature intended. Your health doesn't depend on cutting carbs. It depends on cutting lies. If you've made it this far, remember this. The most dangerous ingredients are the ones pretending to be healthy. Industrial starch may look harmless, but inside your body, it behaves like a slow-motion toxin, inflaming your organs, draining your energy, and reshaping your metabolism. You don't have to live that way. You don't have to be another statistic. You just have to start looking deeper than the label. Flip that box, read those words, and make the simple decision to choose real food over fake fuel. Your body already knows what to do. It's waiting for you to stop feeding it garbage. If this message opened your eyes, share it with someone who still thinks their healthy snacks are helping them, because the truth deserves to spread faster than the lies. And if you want to know the next hidden poison sitting quietly in your pantry, the one that works hand in hand with this dangerous carb, watch my next video. It's about seed oils, and it might just be the most important thing you ever learn about your diet.